What is going on, guys? My name is AK, back again with another YouTube video. Now in today's video what I've got how to play better against very good players. So I'm sure you guys have had those games where you've come up either in the 2Ks or just in general gameplay, you've come up against people that are a lot better than you, and sometimes, you know, it gets to you. You get so scared about how good these players are that they end up absolutely smashing you, and maybe you could have given them a bit of a better fight. So what I thought I'd do in today's video is break down all of the things that you can do to mentally and sort of in-game prepare to play against good players so that you can perform even better. Now, before we get into it, the gameplay in the background is from last week's 2K. We came up against the 12th seed, which is Luti and his team. Maybe you know them if you follow competitive Call of Duty in the European scene. You probably will know them. If not, then they are a very good team, and we gave them a decent run on hardpoint. We did end up losing, but I personally think I played quite well, so hopefully you enjoyed the gameplay in the background. I should note the quality is not amazing because I've had to grab it from the stream VOD. Maybe I'll try up the stream quality for next time. I'm not too sure, but apologies for the quality not being amazing. So the first thing I want to say is be confident in your own skill. Like, if you're coming up against good players, you're probably a good player yourself. So don't sort of get scared, and don't sort of refuse to challenge gunfights if you think, oh, I'm probably going to get killed. You have to play like you would play against anyone else, really. I mean, of course, respect the fact that they're good players. They do have a good shot. Of course, if they're at the top of their respective region, they're going to be good players. But that doesn't mean that you shan't challenge them in gunfights, and you shouldn't be confident going into gunfights that you can win. Because if you sit in a corner and hide and don't take gunfights, they're going to take complete control of the map, and you're not going to be able to do anything. So basically, it's important to not play scared, you know. Play as if they were anyone else. Challenge the gunfights that you think you can win. Again, play safe when you have to. Maybe don't ego chow as much as you might against people that you sort of know you can beat. But definitely make sure you play confident. Trust in your own gun skill, because let's be honest, you're probably pretty good if you're watching this video. You know, I think my fans have a decent level of skill in Call of Duty, and so yeah, make sure that you're utilising that and not sort of letting the names of the people that you're playing against get into your head and make you not challenge those gunfights and make those plays that you need to do that might help you win. It's probably also a good point to make quite early on in the video that when you're playing against these good players, you might not necessarily always have to go to win. For instance, we were playing Luti and his team. They were the 12th seed in the European Cup, so they are one of the best teams in Europe. Sort of realistically, going into the game, I didn't think that we were going to win the series, but there is a lot that you can get out of it, because the opportunity to play against good players doesn't happen very often. So, of course, there is the whole being able to actually sort of look back at this, and I'll get into this in a little bit, but and it's just also any opportunity to play against these players is good, and you can learn a lot from it. And also you can use that to show them what you can do, because if you're playing well against good players, they're probably going to notice that, and then maybe that will sort of keep your name in their head for maybe in the future when they're looking to build new teams. And if you can sort of show yourself off as a good player, they'll think, oh, I remember when we played them, he played quite well, and so on. Anyway, moving on to the second point, that is going to be focus on the fundamentals of the game. Don't sit and kill whore, because I know a lot of people will think, oh, I want to sort of appeal to these players, I want to look good to these players, and so they think, what's the best way to do that? Get as many kills as possible. And while that does work in sort of making you top of the leaderboard, that doesn't work in actually showing the other people that you know how to play the game well. Because at the end of the day, if someone thinks you're a good player, they're going to judge that based on how well you play the game. So if you're not rotating for the hard points, if you're not playing S&D well, if you're throwing away your lives in control, if you're not playing the fundamentals that each of the game modes actually requires, these people are going to pick up on that, and they might think, okay, you can get loads of kills, but if you're not playing the game properly, they're never going to take you serious as a competitive player, and of course you're not even going to have a good chance at winning the game, because maybe you can outslay against people that you're much better than, but when you're coming up against good players that can shoot back just as well, if not better than you, you're going to have to focus on the fundamentals more to actually have a chance. And it's something I notice as well when I'm playing against players that aren't as good as me, maybe in terms of gun skill and just in general game knowledge, but I do see that they're making the right plays, they're rotating when they should, they're anchoring spawns, they're doing the clever things that I think, okay, that makes them a good player, that makes them a good player. The players that are better than me are going to notice this as well. So if you're going for the route to try and sort of get noticed and try and make these people respect you as a player, again, focusing on the fundamentals, playing the game how it's meant to be played, is going to help you quite a lot. And as I said earlier, it's going to give you a better chance at actually winning the game as well. Now, my next point is going to be actually play with your team. So a lot of people will think, I need to solo performance, I need to look amazing by myself, but you can't 1v4 an entire team, unless, of course, the people you're playing are dreadful. But if the people that you're playing are very good, like the whole premise of this video is, there's no way you're going to be able to 1v4 them, and probably in a 1v1 you're not even going to stand the best of chances. So making sure that you're utilising teamwork very well, double hit things together, team shoot, you know, have more than one player taking a gunfight at a time. Things like that is going to really give you a better chance at actually getting more kills because you're working with your team, actually being able to exert good map pressure because, again, you're rotating with your team or you're pushing a hard point with your team. You're going to have a better chance at actually taking control of objectives or getting kills in S&D. Literally, whatever the scenario is, work with your team. It's going to do you a lot of good. And also, it's something that they are going to be doing as well. Good players know how to work with a team. They know how to coordinate things together. So you have to be doing it too. Otherwise, you're constantly going to find yourself in 2v1s, 3v1s, 4v1s. You're going to be alone and you're not going to stand a chance at even getting one kill, let alone the whole team. So make sure you're working with your team. It's very important. Now, my next point, and this is something that I see not a lot of people actually doing, and I really don't know why, and that's actually give it everything. I mean, going into the game, a lot of people are going to know that there is no way that they're going to win the game, and that's fine, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't give it any effort at all. Instead, make sure that you're working on your communication, making sure that you're hitting your shots and actually taking the gunfights like you should, and basically playing all your fundamentals well, you're rotating, you're actually keep on doing those, even if you're far behind. Make sure that you are still rotating for the hill and you don't just let it turn into a game of team deathmatch where you're getting absolutely destroyed. You know, stick to your fundamentals, play the game well, because again, this is what is going to stand out to those better players that makes him think, okay, he's a good player, they're a good player, and so on, as opposed to just another person that we walked over in this tournament as we moved on to the finals. Because it all comes down to it. If you're going to get noticed by better players, you have to perform well against better players. And the route to the top is through beating continuously better and better players. And although you might perform against people of your own skill level, if you're not trying against those people that are even better than you, how are you ever meant to get show these people that you're better than them, that you can even compete with them, and sort of help your way move up into the scene? And I think that's why a lot of people do get quite stagnant, and they sort of find their level, and they don't really move up, because when they see these games, they either just report the win, they don't even bother playing it. I see that happen quite a lot, as well as people just not really giving it their all. And I think the opportunities to play good players don't come around very often, so you want to make sure that you take every opportunity that you can get to show them how good you actually are. My fifth and final tip for today's video is actually not something you can do in the game, but it's something you should do afterwards, and this is actually watch your gameplays against the good teams back in theatre mode. Now, I've said it many times, but you don't actually get the chance to play against good players very often. So when you do, you want to make sure that you're learning as much as possible from it. So watch all of the perspective of the other players, but especially the person on the other team that plays your role. You know, you want to pick up what they're doing better than you, how they've managed to kill you maybe more times than you've managed to kill them, their positioning, all of the things that sort of make you a good competitive Call of Duty player. Look at their point of view, break that down. Because it's one thing to break down the pros' gameplay, how the pros play against the pros, but really the best way to get better yourself is to learn how do people beat you. If they can beat you doing something, then you can use that to beat someone else, and use that, again, to work your way upwards. So just make sure you're learning as much as you can from these gameplays. Watch them back, write things down, even just keep a mental note, whatever you need to do, make sure you're learning from them. But that is about it for today's video. Really hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, be sure to drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.